Good morning. Ni hao. This is my third time to Shanghai this year. And every time I come to Shanghai, I fall more and more in love with the city, the richness that it has to offer, and the magnanimosity of the people that live here. So from me to you, xie xie. You know, the ROI Festival is an incredible festival. And for us personally, at Draftfcb, it's welcomed us with open arms. A year ago, my partner, Howard Draft, was the first ever, individual to be honored as the honorary chairman. And last night, Puli Chow and her team in China walked away with the very prestigious award, Brand Agency of the Year, something that put a smile on every single one of our faces. You know, it's very interesting. When I met Mr. He last year in Cannes, he asked me if I would come to Shanghai to speak to you. And when he did, he asked me if I would look into my crystal ball and I would take a moment to identify where the future of marketing communication would be and what we would have to do as marketers to be just as relevant and meaningful then as we are today. So what I'm going to ask you to do with me right now is take a journey. First, we're going to take a little bit of a journey into my past, the science fiction with television and film in the 60s and the 70s, because the science fiction of yesterday is the reality of our today. And equally important, then I want to stop and take a look at the science fiction of today, because it's going to be the reality of our tomorrow. And hopefully at that point, we will all be able to adapt in a very changing and a very fast-paced world. So Mr. He, I'd have to say, is really a visionary, because most people look at marketing communications and advertising and just look at the art part of it. What he did is he completely understood that everything is fundamentally about creating an opportunity for a marketer with their products and sellers to come together in an exchange. And for us truly to be honest about what we do for our clients, it's to really deliver a return on investment, or at what we say at Draftfcb, a return on ideas. You know, it's really interesting, because when Draft and FCB came together in 2006, the whole purpose of it was to really develop a comprehensive, through-the-line, integrated agency. And the way that we did this is Draft, which was very well known at the time for direct marketing communications, one-on-one, through the use of data and analytics to understand consumer insights and develop programs for our clients that would be measurable by impact, and couple that with what FCB did. FCB was an above-the-line branding agency, and their purpose was to create brand aspirations for clients as they built their brands, and equally important, understand not just the rational thought process, but the emotional connectivity. And so when we brought the two of them together, what our goal was a very simple goal. We believed that we lived in a world where integration was basically the mantra of the day, where creativity and accountability had to live harmoniously together, as opposed to live with friction. And it's very interesting, because in the day and age that I grew up, there was above the line and there was below the line. So if above the line was heaven, then below the line must have been hell. So what we did is we said it's not above and below, but it's more opposite ends of the spectrum. And it's fluidity that we use, from branding to advertising to direct to digital to promotion and to retail. And every single one of those disciplines has to have an impact on the next. And that's what we called integration. So the merger of Draftfcb was really to kind of have a modern solution to a world that was changing. And in this world, we needed to break down the walls that separated us. We needed to break down the walls of the disciplines. We needed to basically look at the fluidity of how all of these individual disciplines work together in harmony. So if we stop for a second and we just think about this, we live in a world that's changing at an accelerated rate. Business, politics, social, Wall Street, science, environmental, all of these things impact the next. Think for a second what happened in Japan and how the world stood still, or the social unrest that occurred in Egypt, and again the world stood still. Yesterday and this morning at 3 o'clock, because I couldn't sleep, I got up and I decided to go on the treadmill for about to do 6-mile run. And as I did, I kind of quickly logged into CNN and I saw Wall Street had dropped the Dow 250 points in the time that I was supposed to be asleep. And I looked at that and said to myself, that's a real-time environment, because what happens now in Wall Street and the volatility of it, that used to happen on an annual basis. And 2 weeks ago, when I was in the Middle East, I saw that the Dow went from 11,000